Home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm. I got Jon Impemba with me on his Tuesday, this MLB Trade Deadline day. We got a lot of things to get to. What's up, John?
Dan, yeah, it's MLB Trade Deadline day. We've had a lot of action already leading up to this point. A couple of big names have been moved. One a few days ago, one today as the Mets clear house just like a year after spending $1 billion to acquire everybody. Their push apparently is over. We'll see if any more big names get dealt. This is a 6 p.m. Eastern deadline this year. In the past, you and I would have been coming on right as the bell rang, right? 4 o'clock would have been deadline over. We could have reacted. Some deals would have been maybe trickling in, but still a full 2 hours to go before deadline actually comes here today.
Yeah, we got a lot of things coming in, and of course, we will have some betting picks and some player props for you guys for tonight's slate. We still got a full slate of games that we want to talk about, and there is an angle to bet some of these depending on whether you're taking into the trades into account or not. I know I have a couple picks that have kind of trades in mind, but we'll get into those soon. But yeah, we got to touch on some of these trades and kind of the impact on the futures odds market, the betting landscape, maybe how we're approaching some of these selling or buying teams in this, last, couple months of the season, on a day-to-day basis or from the futures perspective. But yeah, you mentioned, so the Astros making the big trade today to get Justin Verlander. It was one of those trades that it was kind of in the wind, thinking that the Astros were the favorites to get Verlander if the Mets ended up moving him. So, I mean, this is a big get for the defending world champs, right? And he was a big part of their title last year. Now back with this rotation that I think we've talked about on this show. They needed probably a starting pitcher or two at this deadline to really feel good about their rotation going forward. But I mean, what does this do? They're plus right now to win the World Series, if you want to kind of look at it, plus 700 on DraftKings are the Astros. To win the AL, they are the favorites, betting favorites, plus 340 just over the Rays. But yeah. What do you think of this move, Verlander to Houston?
I think it's interesting. Of course, now he's definitely not the same pitcher he was last season. If you just look across the board, the numbers are dipping down. His K per 9 is just almost a little over 7.5. At 7.7 strikeouts per 9. He was 9.5 last year. His walks per 9 is almost double this year. He gets away with not giving up too many home runs. That's kind of always benefited him. So if you kind of look across, his 3.1 ERA is great. His expected ERA is just 3.29 this year for the Mets. FIP and xFIP risen a little bit. His xFIP's at 4.51. So he's pitching a little bit more contact. He's getting a little bit luckier and some of the damage that's coming against him because he doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Will that change now that he goes back to the American League? We'll see. Going back to AL West, we'll see. But, he's definitely a little bit of a different pitcher than they're getting, but they needed some help. Like you said, Christian Javier has not been the same guy. Framber Valdez has given up 15 earned runs over his last 3 outings, and have to wonder if his if his ankle maybe isn't still 100%. He had that issue where he missed the start. They're looking to get Urquidy back. They've been throwing France and Bielak and that crew out there. So slotting in Verlander certainly gives them another name presence that's pitching well. Is that enough to compete with some of these other teams in the American League? We'll come to find out. I mean, obviously in their own state, the Rangers went out and got Max Scherzer to kind of bolster their rotation. So we'll see how it all comes about.
Yeah, the Mets selling off Scherzer and Verlander, kind of something that I know, like Howard hinted this, maybe a month ago, saying that the Mets are probably going to be selling both these guys off. They ended up doing it. They trade away Mark Canha too. He goes to the Brewers. That happened yesterday. But Verlander is the big starting pitcher name that's been out there. There's been other pitchers moved, obviously, at this deadline. Yesterday we had Aaron Savale traded to the Rays. But earlier today we had Michael Lorenzen traded to the Phillies. But the Verlander move is, I think, huge for the Astros just to because their offense is fine, and especially getting Alvarez and Altuve back now healthy, their offense is perfectly fine. I don't think they haven't yet. I don't think they will add a bat this trade deadline, but their pitching staff, their rotation for sure needed a piece. And as you outlined, they're just relying on guys that were a little too inconsistent, too young. So yeah, this is huge for Houston. But we mentioned yesterday on the show the Rays getting Aaron Savale. The Blue Jays, by the way, if we're kind of staying in the AL here, the Blue Jays are getting Paul DeJong after Bo Bichette left yesterday's game with an injury. We don't know how serious it is right now, but that's insurance in the infield at least, or just a good utility bat in Paul DeJong for the Blue Jays. What do you kind of make of that? Because the Blue Jays are a team where they're right in the middle of the AL wild card, and we've seen a lot of these wild card teams just adding, trying to get better, and they're one of them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, listen, obviously, I haven't seen the most recent updates on the Bichette injury. I don't know if you have or not.
No.
But it's never a good sign when a team loses a player and then the next day they immediately trade for what is likely the guy to replace him. Sure, it could just be a depth. Actually, we got it right now as we're speaking. Bo Bichette considered day-to-day. MRI revealed no structural damage. So that is definitely good news for the Blue Jays. But getting Paul DeJong obviously helps them. This is a team that really hasn't hit left-handed pitching all that well, even though they have a whole bunch of righties in their lineup. I mean, Paul DeJong does have some power, can hit hit lefties kind of well. So he is not a terrible bat for them to add to their their infield rotation there to give him a little bit of a breather, more power coming off the bench for them, and can fill in, at least for now, while Bichette is recovering from what has to at least be a knee sprain, I would assume, given the injury that he suffered.
Shout out to our producer, by the way, Tyler Soto, Heavy T, helping us out with the things behind the scenes here. He says in our chat here, the Mets are sending $54 million to the Houston as well for Verlander's contract. The Mets they're stuck paying Bobby Bonilla. They're stuck paying for Justin Verlander now that he's on the Astros. It's just they I guess this is something that had to be done for Verlander's contract, but 54 mil for Houston to get
him off the books,
right?
Just take him, please.
But yeah, the Bichette injury news, I guess, is good. You said that's just coming out, like knee inflammation. So we'll see just how serious, how bad, how much longer he'll be out. But DeJong is a good piece for the Blue Jays to just kind of add in there. Other trades that we could touch on. I mentioned the Phillies get Michael Lorenzen. That's been one of the other big ones today in the last hour or so, which I think is huge for their rotation. It's been, even their top guys, Wheel and Nola, haven't been as dominant as, last year or the year before, but they get another kind of back end rotation guy to help out because Ranger Suarez is another guy that's been struggling this year. So big for them.
I kind of like that move. I was kind of hopeful the Red Sox were going to get him because I think Lorenzen actually profiles as a great playoff guy, right? One, he could be a back end starter if you feed him to, but he throws hard. So you get him also kind of multi-inning reliever in the playoffs, a guy that could piggyback off of a starter who maybe doesn't go deeper into the games. And, that's the wild card about the playoffs is you look at these bullpens here and some of these guys that these teams are kind of trotting out in the middle innings. Well, that's now like what was your number 4, number 5 starter almost out there. And if Lorenzen now can come in 6th and 7th inning for Philly throwing 95, 96, I mean, that's a huge get for them. And he'll eat some innings for them down the stretch here going into that playoff run. So that was a guy I was hopeful the Red Sox, as a Red Sox fan, we're going to try to go out and acquire here. Red Sox still haven't made any moves. Supposedly they were in on Rich Hill earlier today. I don't understand that one entirely because Hill's been absolute dog water for Pittsburgh this season, but the Padres end up going out there getting him and G-Man Choi. So a little get there. I imagine Hill, another sort of similar situation. Back end starter for them down the stretch and moves to a bullpen role come playoff time if he's even on their active playoff roster anyways.
Yeah. The Padres got to sneak in. They got to get to the playoffs at this point. But Back to the Phillies, by the way, they have the third best odds to win the NL right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. The Braves at big Braves and Dodgers big favorites, plus 160 and plus 240 respectively there. But then the Phillies at plus 900, gap between the top two and them, and then the Brewers are even further at plus 1200. So sportsbooks are kind of seeing the Phillies, NL champs from last year, possibly doing it again this year. And Lorenzen, you mentioned it. I do like this. As a Phillies fan, sorry for your Red Sox, but as a Phillies fan, I'm glad that this is a good get for them because you kind of touched on it there. But in a playoff series, if you look at the Phillies rotation, they already have Wheeler, Nola, first two starters. They have Taijuan Walker, who's been pretty solid for them. And then it's like you usually only need maybe 4 starters, and you kind of flip it around. They have Ranger Suarez, I mentioned. They have Christopher Sanchez, who's been decent. And Lorenzen, they could use him either as a starter or, as you mentioned, a bulk inning guy coming out of the bullpen in one of those, the game 4s where you have kind of multiple arms going. So, yeah, it's a good get for them. They're also, if you're kind of looking ahead, the Phillies have been rumored to maybe be in the market for like a Teoscar Hernandez, another hitter that's out there on the market. So keep an eye out for that coming in. By the way, just coming in here, we have a producer letting us know the Brewers are trading for Andrew Chafin, the reliever from the Diamondbacks. Interesting. The Diamondbacks are selling off Chafin here. I feel like they probably need him in that back. I know they just got Paul Sewald right from Seattle, so they're kind of making some bullpen moves here. But the Brewers adding another piece. The Brewers also added Mark Canha from the Mets. And they added Carlos Santana from the Pirates a few days ago. So they're making a few moves here.
Yeah, unexciting names. So definitely guys that are obviously can kind of go in there and immediately make some impacts on their lineup. Canha is a guy that has historically hit left-handed pitching pretty well over the course of his career. Now he's definitely more down the road. Same as Santana, a guy that has pretty extreme splits this season for hitting lefties versus righties, but can fit into that lineup for them well. Chafin's been interesting because he started the year as the Diamondbacks closer. They've kind of since moved to a little bit of a committee. Castro, Chafin, and I think it's McLaughlin is the other guy that they have kind of there that were rotating around, closing out games for them. So we'll see what kind of role he moves into. Obviously, he's not going to close games for the Brewers, but he becomes now a lefty reliever the Brewers can kind of throw into that, late inning mix for them.
Yeah, and I like the fact that the Brewers are, buying here. They're not staying complacent. I know it's them and the Reds basically going for this NL Central, and the Reds have been quiet. If you're looking at those two teams, which teams are adding here, the Reds are kind of standing put. And if you're kind of looking at odds, odds for the Reds to make the playoffs, that sort of thing, it doesn't make me feel good that the Reds haven't done anything. They're relying on what they have, it seems, unless there's a big move coming or maybe a couple fringe moves. But if they're going into the second half of the season with what they have, where in this since the All-Star break, they've been very, the hitting hasn't always been there. They've been, the young hitters haven't been as dominant. And I feel like we've talked about this. They need a starting pitcher or something.
So I was just, as you said that, I was literally just looking to see, what's the situation here on Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, and apparently both of them are set to go on rehab assignments. So
they're banking on both of them coming back and helping. They Green probably don't want to give away any of their prospects, their pieces.
Yeah, Green's eligible to come back August 17th, and apparently he's set to go on a rehab assignment. Lodolo hasn't been set for a rehab assignment yet, but could return later in the month. So that's what the Reds are doing now. Again, Lodolo and Green, two very young prospect pitchers for them. Green, great strikeout potential for him, but very inconsistent. Can't imagine the Reds going far, but those two guys at least have electric arms. But good spot for them to get experience, right? They have CES up, they have Ellie up. They have a lot of their young players getting this late run. So yeah, maybe they're not looking to sell anything because they also know, are you beating Atlanta? Are you beating the Dodgers this year? Probably not. So, get those guys experience and move on.
Right now on DraftKings Sportsbook, both the Brewers and the Reds are at plus 110 to win the division there, to win the NL Central. So it's pretty even. I think I'd rather lean Brewers there just from the moves they've made so far.
Is Brandon Woodruff coming back soon, or is he out for the year? What's his deal?
I'm not sure about him.
Let me check. One more rehab start needed for Woodruff. So Brewers are getting back one of the best, one of the better pitchers over the last couple of years to their rotation as well.
Yeah, and they have Wade Miley's been out too, and they should have him coming back soon. But yeah, I do like this Andrew Chafin trade for them because their bullpen, besides Devin Williams, has been very suspect. It's been very untrustworthy. Once you get to that ninth inning, and sometimes they're trying to bring Williams in for longer, but and they don't have a lot of left-handed arms. The only guy they have is that Hobie Milner guy. But I think Chafin gives them a nice left-handed arm because when they had, when they're rocking Josh Hader and Devin Williams together, it was like, two dominant arms, lefty, righty coming out. And since then it's been, they've needed another guy there. So Chafin could be a really good piece for them, especially in the postseason. He's proven to get some guys out, especially, being a lefty arm. So, good get for them. And then Mark Hanna, a good bat for that lineup. It seems like they've called it. They struck gold with like Sal Frelick coming up, but I feel like they need another batter too to kind of help out that lineup. Besides Yelich, he's doing too much for the Brewers. So, no structural damage, by the way, for Bo Bichette. Another update on that. If you're thinking about the Blue Jays adding Paul DeJong today, as we mentioned, another trade that we just wanted to get to. The Cubs, this happened last night. Heimer Candelario joining the Chicago Cubs from the Nats. They also get a reliever, Jose Cuas, from the Royals. But Candelario is a big name. He was one of the big hitter names on the market, and he goes to a Cubs team they're not selling. This is a team that maybe a week ago people thought Bellinger might be traded, Stroman, but they're not selling, and they're buying here. Just outside of the playoff picture, but I like that they're doing something. This lineup's gonna be really good with Candelario in there, maybe hitting like 5th, 6th.
One of my favorite players, obviously this year for DFS purposes, because nobody ever really played the Nationals, but I was. They were a very pesky team that
they don't strike out.
Runs. They never struck out. They just put the ball in play all the time, and Candelario was never more than like $4,000 on DraftKings, and he hit for power. He hit both sides of the plate. So I was, happy and sad to see him go. Happy because he's now part of a better offense, and like you said, should be continue to hit in the middle or top half of that lineup, nailing down their third base spot because Patrick Wisdom just fell off a map for them. So, but sad that now that he's on a better team, he probably gets a price boost, and I can't do my CJ Abrams, Heimer Candelario, Lane Thomas stack anymore, because the natties are blowing it up.
I like, I like that just the contrarian thought of playing the Nationals because
I play them all the time. Oh yeah, I play them all the time. They are better than anybody ever gives them credit for, and they hit lefties like nobody. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, and to that point, this is a big get for the Cubs getting the right-handed bat of Candelario in this lineup because they've been hammering right-handed pitching lately. The Cubs have, but lefties have given them a little bit of trouble. So this is huge for them. And plus 360 to make the playoffs to get into that wild card spot for the Cubs right now on DraftKings. So that's interesting. We got a couple hours before the deadline. I doubt they make another move. I mean, we'll see. Yeah. They could add another bat. They could add another pitcher, but interesting. They also were involved. I don't have the specifics here, but they trade away Adrian Sampson, right? And someone else to. Let me just pull up. By the way, this is a good time to promote the Fantasy Alarm Deadline Tracker because I'm pulling that up right now to get these specifics. We got Matt Sells and Colby Conway breaking all these trades down in real time.
They'll have their live deadline show at 6:00 Eastern tonight as well. So
nice.
Stay with the Bettor Sports Network. You have me and Dan right now. You have me and Grande talking MLB DFS / all of the trades that are happening in that 5 to 6 hour. And then 6:00 to 7:00, you'll have Colby and Sells on there breaking all the action down.
Yeah, and they'll have Sells is glued into all the prospects. So I know he'll be letting you know what these pieces are coming back for some of these guys. But yeah, they're breaking this down in written form over at the deadline tracker on Fantasy Alarm. And yeah, the Rays have traded for Adrian Sampson and Manuel Rodriguez from the Cubs. Sampson kind of fell out of the rotation there for the Cubs, so it's not much that they're giving away there, but he's going to go to the Rays. We said that with Aaron Savali, he's probably going to go to the Rays and be a dominant pitcher for them.
Yeah, he'll be an opener or something like that, or piggyback guy and be great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the Rays, it's nice seeing them making moves too, because they've especially pitching, because they have lost, trying to make do without Drew Rasmussen and Jeffrey Springs this year. And now they bring in Savali and they bring in Sampson, who will probably have, as an opener or as a bulk guy, and make that work. So they're adding pitching here. But yeah, so those are some of the big names. We'll be scouring and keeping track of all these trades coming in. Give you some real-time analysis. But yeah, again, as John said, at 6 p.m. Eastern here on Bettor Sports Network, we have that trade deadline show. Colby Conway and Matt Sells to give you some more analysis from the betting, the fantasy impact of all of it. So tune into that. But yeah, let's dive right into some betting picks for tonight, because we still got a full slate of games that we got to touch on. Yeah. Even though there's players moving left and right, we still got games to be played tonight. So what's your best bet, your top pick for tonight?
I mean, when we go over and kind of look at this slate, kind of breaking down all the matchups for me, I'm going with the Atlanta Braves tonight. Team total over 5.5 runs. It's even money over on DK Sportsbook plus 100. You're just looking at this Braves team and their matchup against Patrick Sandoval. Braves almost across the board are the best hitting team against left-handed pitching in baseball. Isolated power, weighted on base average, OPS, slugging. And for good reason, obviously. Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Matt Olson can hit lefties. That lineup up and down. Sean Murphy's been unbelievable since they traded for him. Darno can hit. So, it doesn't really matter who's in that Braves lineup. They all just mashed left-handed pitching. So, to get even money on them tonight, and when a lot of their guys, their player props, are 2.5 on the hit runs and RBI props, that's, if that's to be the case, then I'm going to go the team total on the over 5.5 at even money. So give me that tonight.
Well, yeah, and especially coming off of last night where they scored just one run, which them being held to, less than 5 runs in back-to-back games. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen for 2 straight nights. So yeah, I like that call. My best bet for tonight, I'm going with the Rays and Yankees under 8.5 total runs on BetMGM. It's minus 115. Last night, this was a kind of vibe I had about this series in general. The Yankees and Rays both just making sure their pitching is keeping it lower scoring and within reach. And last time we had a 5-1 victory by the Rays. I see something similar tonight, and probably in the Rays' favor again, but Carlos Rodon, he was shaky from returning from the injury back in this Yankees rotation, but was solid last outing, 5 2/3 innings of a 1-run ball against the Mets. And I know his talent, his Cy Young caliber talent. I feel like it's going to be starting to come back here in the second half. And the Rays offense against left-handed pitching over the past 2 months, huge sample size of data, the last dead last in the league in terms of WOBA, weighted runs created plus, ISO, batting average. They're in the bottom tier in the league against left-handed pitching. Same thing with over the past month. It's been the same thing. So they're really good against right-handed pitching, but the lefties are giving them trouble lately. So I think Rodon can do his thing. And then the other side, I really like F1 against the Yankees offense, just because the Yankees offense has been just a good one to fade lately. Yeah. They've been, averaging just 3.8 runs per game since the All-Star break. Judge is back in the lineup, but it hasn't mattered much. They're still just being held to, 1 runs, 3 runs. So I think F1, he's been up and down, but I still think he's going to do his thing. And the Yankees, by the way, against right-handed pitching since the All-Star break and over the past week, they're, again, one of the dead last teams in the league in all these categories. So I think both offenses are just going to struggle in this one. I see a low-scoring AL East battle, just how we all like it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously Aaron Judge coming back changes a little bit of the dynamic of that Yankees lineup, but for the most part, they've been bad all season long. They have have the second fewest hits in baseball. Only the Oakland A's have fewer hits. The New York Yankees have the second fewest hits in baseball. I mean, that is just
It's
a
crazy.
stunning stat to think about, given the Moneyball comparisons of the two teams, right? The whole idea of Moneyball was, Giambi getting bought by the Yankees, and Oakland A's had to reestablish themselves, and here they are, two fewest hit teams in baseball. So, and the payroll for them really has only increased the gap between the two teams. So, pretty bad to see the Yankees struggling offensively as much as they have been.
And interesting that the Yankees are also, I just saw a tweet come across that they're the only team that has yet to make a move at the trade deadline, which is they've been very quiet. There have been rumors whether they be buyers or sellers either way, because they're right on the edge of the wild card, but they've yet to make a move here. So we'll see if they are buyers or sellers. But I'll throw out another pick here, because you mentioned just this offense besides Judge. And this is an Aaron Judge prop. Over a half a walk for tonight's game. It was -140 on DraftKings. He's getting the Shohei Ohtani treatment here. We saw this with Ohtani recently, where pitchers and teams were just forcing anybody else in this Angels lineup to beat them besides Ohtani, pitching around him, intentionally walking him either way. And Judge is getting the same thing. He was walked 3 times last night by the Rays. He's walked 3 times just a few days ago by the Orioles in his 2 of 3 games back. And the one game he didn't get walked at all, he went 3 for 5 with a home run. So I think teams are going to be looking at this, especially a smart team like the Rays, seeing we're just going to walk him and get to, whoever's next, Rizzo, whoever, and just kind of take our chances that they're going to strike out or, ground into a double play. So I like this over Judge walk prop. And by the way, he's going back to before his injury. He's drawn a walk in 17 of his last 23 games. So good kind of sample size there that he's going to get on base via bases on balls.
Yeah, I like that. I was actually looking at some walk props earlier as well. And the Ohtani even money walk, I thought was a pretty good one.
Yeah, he's been one that's been cashing pretty well lately. So
yeah, he's walking a lot, and if you're Spencer Strider, you're a fireballer, but that sometimes comes with lack of control as well. If you look at some of his game logs, and Ohtani's certainly a guy that could take a base, because like a Judge, he's really the one guy you're looking to avoid in that lineup. For me, speaking of Strider, I like the over 9.5 strikeouts here tonight. It's -135. I know to many that number seems pretty high at 9.5, but this man just punches double-digit strikeouts like it's nobody's business here. And for the month of July, the Angels have the second highest strikeout rate during against right-handed pitching at 28.1%. Now, a lot of their numbers also look pretty good. 331 WOBA, 211 ISO. This game to me feels kind of sneaky for a stack because Strider is hittable. He has been giving up runs. He has been giving up home runs. The Angels team total is only at 3.5 tonight. That one could go over as well, just given the way Strider pitches, because he throws gas, and sometimes those fastballs, they don't move, and major league hitters can hit a fastball that doesn't move. So we saw that when he faced Boston. Casas took him deep in that one. So I mean, I do like this game from a stacking perspective, but give me the Strider strikeouts over 9.5.
Wow, so you're not scared away by the that high strikeout total, right?
No, because he's gonna strike guys out, but he's gonna give up runs. It's just at least that's the way he's sort of been in recent form for him. So it's not really a worry for me.
I like that. Yeah, going for it. And it's favored to the over anyway, so it looks like it's probably gonna happen. We got an update here, by the way. Our producer saying it looks like Trey Mancini will be leaving the Cubs in some fashion via either trade or DFA. So yeah, he hasn't been. It's kind of a bummer. I was hoping he'd be better this year for the Cubs, but he just has not been producing for them. So yeah, maybe they try to trade him away and get a good piece back, or bringing in Candelario for that lineup is kind of makes Mancini one of the odd men out, I guess. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Speaking of the Cubs, I'll go to my next couple picks here. I like the Cubs team total over 4.5, -115. or minus 110 on DraftKings. Yeah, this has been one I've been kind of rolling with for the past, couple of weeks here since the All-Star break. They're pumping this out. The offense has not been an issue for the Cubs, and now they add Candelario. I feel really good about it. But since since the All-Star break against right-handed pitching, they are the top offense in the league in a few categories. WOBA, batting average, WRC plus, a strong 200 ISO as well over the past week. Still top tier numbers versus righties. And they got Ben Lively on the mound, who's been decent at times, but he's got some underlying metrics that are a little worrisome. High FIP and expected ERA compared to his ERA. It's in the mid threes. High left on base rate. He's allowing a lot of softer contact and kind of surviving that way. But dangerous offenses have kind of shown that they can exploit him, and I think the Cubs will do it here at home. They're averaging 6.4 runs per game since the All-Star break, and over this team total of 4.5 in 12 of the past 16. So all these trends are pointing to them. Last night they lost, but they still scored 5 runs. So I like, even if they're losing tonight, I like them to get on the board with the offense. And then adding right onto that, Cody Bellinger, another prop I've been kind of hammering it, and it's been cashing more often than not. So I'm rolling with it again. Over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 135 on DraftKings. And I like this even more now that Candelario is in the lineup, because he's going to be hitting behind Bellinger, I think. Waiting to see on a Cubs lineup. But
yeah, just checking right now to see if we had an official lineup yet. Not yet, though.
Okay, yeah. So I assume he's going to be after Bellinger, who's been, hitting cleanup or third in that lineup. But I think this helps his, run score potential even more. But you just kind of look, he's been on fire since the All-Star break and been going over this prop more often than not.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100% as well. I think the Cubs obviously always in a good spot. And you mentioned if they do get Candelario in their lineup tonight, it only boosts their offensive profile in this matchup here. Another couple of plays that I am in on here today. I do like Brian Bayo over the 5.5 strikeouts. Again, he's not like he's been a huge strikeout guy. 5.6 has sort of been his ceiling this year, but I'm more so looking at the matchup here against Seattle, a team that really struggles in terms of strikeouts against right-handed pitching over the last month, 27.6%. Overall for the year, they're right up there, second most in baseball, just beyond the Twins in strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. So, sometimes you take these matchups where a guy may not have the highest strikeout profile, but then you get him in a spot where maybe that ceiling can get risen up a little bit here. So you're getting even money on Brian Bayo over 5.5 strikeouts on DraftKings Sportsbook. So I like that one. And another pitcher prop I'm in on tonight, Jose Quintana over 2.5 earned runs allowed. That's minus 120 on the book here tonight. Again, looking at this matchup for the Mets and sort of how they're, you're wondering what sort of mentality they have, knowing that they've traded away now their top 2 starters, and the Royals this year. A team that kind of has been sneaky good against left-handed pitching. Guys like Bobby Witt in that lineup have hit lefties really well. Michael Garcia hits lefties really well. They have almost a 150 ISO, a 300 WOBA on the year. So KC can be a little sneaky tonight against Quintana, getting over the 2.5 earned runs tonight at minus 130, minus 120 even.
Yeah, like those. And I'm glad you just did those back to back, because I have a play that's basically involving both these pitchers. I have a parlay for you guys. Red Sox and Royals, money line parlay them together. That's fading both the pitchers. Backing
both pitchers,
against the Mariners, and it's fading Quintana and the Mets here, because this is I was gonna not give much analysis, so whatever John just said, I kind of double on. But this is basically just fading the Mariners and fading the Mets, 2 selling teams at the deadline, and just kind of banking on some vibes being a little low, that the teams are kind of going in the opposite direction, not looking to add anything. The Mariners already gave away their closer, Paul Sewald. Trade away AJ Pollock. Will likely be trading away Teoscar Hernandez in the next couple hours here. And the Mets, we already know Verlander's gone, Scherzer's gone, Mark Canha's gone. There's been kind of floating rumors that someone else, Tommy Pham, maybe another hitter, is going to be gone too. Yeah. So I just think the vibes, trade deadline day, it's just going to be a little bit low for both these clubs. So I'm liking the money line parlay together. You can get if you want to kind of split it up, the Red Sox are plus 100, the Royals plus 130. Both of those are interesting, but why not just throw like half a unit on the plus 360 odds on DraftKings for both of them to win?
Yeah, I'm checking out the team total of runs for the Royals right now, seeing what we're at there.
Okay.
Let's see. Team total Royals 3.5 at minus 150. So juiced up there. Yeah. But again, okay, so 3.5 at minus 150. I have Quintana over 2.5 at minus 120. Might as well just play the over earned in Quintana and hope that they get to him early there on the play. So yeah, that was a matchup I was looking to key on. And it's funny, we prepped beforehand, but I didn't even see the Royals Red Sox parlay when I put my plays down for tonight. So
I know I was thinking that I was like, wow, weird coincidence, but I doubt he saw that I had like that kind of parlay because it's kind of a random one to have, but yeah.
Yeah, I glanced quickly to see if we had any of the same names, and I didn't see any same names. Yeah. So I was like, all right, we're good. My other one here, I love the stolen base props. So Ronald Acuna over half a stolen base tonight at plus 265. The man has 51 stolen bases on August 1st. I mean, that is just an absurd stolen base number. And I understand that a lefty's on the mound here today, but only for a little bit, because I think the Braves are going to hammer Sandoval. So at some point, we're going to get a bullpen in here for the Angels. And I could just see Acuna running in this one. He might try to run on the lefty anyways. I mean, again, 51 stolen bases. The only other short thing in baseball was Story Ruiz, who has missed like 2 months and still has 43, I think. That guy was on pace for 70 stolen bases. But I saw the Acuna stats today, and it like stopped me in my track when I was doing my research, because like I have a sense of how good he's been just from doing DFS, but sometimes it takes a moment to like actually sit there and stare at the numbers as a whole. The fact that he has like 24 home runs and 51 stolen bases on August 1st, is this man going to put up like a 35-70 season? Like, those are numbers you saw in the 90s, the 80s, the sort of the freaky, steroid era when no one was really testing for steroids. But like, I'm not saying he's on that by any sense. He's just a wild talent. So yeah, you're getting almost 3-1 on a stolen base from the stolen base leader. Give me that tonight here.
Yeah, he's putting up like Ricky Henderson numbers.
Yeah,
but like maybe even more. I mean, what was Henderson's like power? Did he have the same kind of power?
I think he capped out at like 20.
Okay. He's got more power than Ricky Henderson.
Well, a couple of years ago, Acuna said he wanted to go 40-40. He's on track for that. Henderson topped out 28 homers twice. 1986, he had 28 homers and 87 stolen bases. In 1990, he had 28 homers and 65 swipes. Of course, he's also swiped 100 plus 3 times. 100 in 1980, 130 in 1982, 108 in 1983. He was thrown out 142 times he's thrown out 42 times of 172 stolen base attempts in 1982. So just also wild. Ricky Henderson getting thrown out more times than some guys steal bases this year. So
yeah, and getting the plus money, plus 265 on DraftKings for him to steal base.
Yeah,
this is like last year, or like this year with Ohtani, but last year with Aaron Judge for home runs. It was like every game, it's just he's gonna hit a home run, and it's for Acuna, he could be stealing 2 bases in one game. But at this point, the numbers he's on and the kind of trajectory.
104 games played, 51 stolen bases. So every other game he's swiping a bat.
Yeah.
So you're getting 3-1. Almost 3-1 on him. Let's
if he doesn't do it tonight, just bet it again tomorrow.
Bet it again tomorrow. Exactly.
And what did he steal a base last night or no?
Let's see here. I could throw a kink into things here.
Because if he didn't, then
he stole a bag in 3 straight games. Did not steal last night. Went 0-for-3 with 2 strikeouts and a walk. Tonight's the night. Sandoval. Put him on base. Especially,
the Braves are going to be amped up to get this win after losing last night. I like that call.
Yeah, so give me the Acuna stolen base. And you know what? Even better, live bet this one. If he doesn't get the stolen base after his first at bat, you can just live bet it. Juiced odds. It'll probably be like plus 350 because he'll have one less at bat to actually get it done. So I used to do that with Jake McCarthy. Wait for Jake McCarthy's first AB to go around. If he doesn't steal the bag, bet it the second time because the odds are higher there, So
I like that. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you've been the stolen base whisperer, so gotta lean to it.
I mean, the Story Ruiz one was crazy because he was like plus 300 and he was stealing the bag every day. So just like you're losing money not betting this one. I feel we're on that track now with Ronald Acuna.
And I gotta listen to it because last night I didn't listen to Howard talking about Yordan Alvarez. He was like, it's free money for him to score a run because he's doing it basically every night. And so, yeah, and he did. He had a home run. So
so we have Candelario starting at first base tonight, and he's hitting 6th.
Oof, okay. I mean, that's Bellinger's hitting 4th, right?
Yeah, Bellinger's hitting 4th. It's Tauchman, Horner, Happ, Bellinger, Swanson, Candelario, Morel, Madrigal, and Barnhart tonight. Which is unfortunate for me because I had Yan Gomes in my regular lineup today, and now I'm gonna have to make a pivot there. But interesting spot. Seeing Candelario getting first base play is good for them.
Yeah, first base. I guess they'll be kind of figuring out what to do with him, whether it's third, first, DH. Looking at just to see. Okay, so the Cubs team total is still at 4.5. If you want to get on that. Mancini was DFA'd, our producer's telling us, so tough for Mancini. I mean, he could land on another contender and be a kind of a nice bench bat. He was last year for the Astros. Wasn't bad, bench bat for them, or he started even for them. So we'll see where he lands. All right, my last pick. We both got a couple more picks before we give some home run calls out, but. My last pick is probably my favorite one of the whole slate, and it's not because I'm a Phillies fan, but it's because of what this track record is showing. Sandy Alcantara over 5.5 hits allowed. We all know Sandy's talent, his Cy Young talent, but we also know that he's been down this year. But even taking all that out, because last year this happened too, the Phillies are hitting and have hit Sandy Alcantara. Over the past 2 seasons combined, 8 starts against the Phillies, he's averaging 7.4 hits allowed to this lineup. 7 of the 8 have included 6+ hits, so over this in 7 of 8. But usually it's been like 8, 9, 10 in a lot of these starts. And this includes 2 starts earlier this season, allowed 10 and 8 hits against the Phillies. So kind of just factoring in Alcantara's, not dominant, consistent self this year. That kind of adds more.
We got an interesting trade.
Oh yeah,
Jake Berger on the move, traded to the Miami Marlins.
Oh wow, White Sox selling again.
White Sox selling the power hitting Berger man, Jake Berger there. So. Interesting.
The Marlins, interesting because the Marlins have been stuck right in that NL wildcard race. They're not going away. People thought maybe they'd fall off at some point, but they're splitting games with the Phillies here, so it's going to be interesting. Their odds right now. Sorry, just pulling this up live.
Yeah.
Their odds to make the playoffs right now, if you think they could get that wild card, is plus 115 yes, and no is minus 135. So if you think this Berger addition just helps their offense out, I feel like their need is a pitcher. Because we don't know what they're doing with Yuri Perez, right?
I feel like they're going to bring him back up, right?
They have to.
I think teams saw what happened with the Nationals that year with Strasburg when they're like, he's on an innings cap. Sorry, can't throw him. And they're like, you're an idiot. This is your hope. You got to. So they sent him down. They limited what he was doing, and bring him back up, let him pitch.
Yeah. Wow, interesting one. So that'll be interesting to see what else, if anything, the Padres do or the Marlins do here. But the Berger, another hitter, I guess that's off the market. So still waiting on the Juan Soto big trade. I'm waiting for you to break that one on the show. We'll see if that happens. All right, before we get the home run calls, I think you have one more pick for us, right?
I do. Yeah. Going with the Nationals here, even though Candelario is no longer there. I got to go CJ Abrams over half a run scored here. He leads off tonight. I like the matchup for them, even with one of their better hitters not out there. Freddie Peralta has been very up and down, right? Great strikeout game against Cincinnati last time out, but he's largely been meh. So you're going to get Abrams here. I like this spot for him a lot tonight. Leading off, could get it done by himself. So give me the Abrams over half a run tonight. Could get on, steal the bag, score. So that's where I'm going at even money again. So chasing the even money, chasing the plus odds props tonight.
Yeah. Love the a lot of plus money picks on your card tonight. I love it. And just a lot of player props from both of us in general today. So we're rolling with, and I think that's the kind of the strategy you have to take with some of these, because you don't know, some of these money lines or run lines or totals. It's like tough to make a prediction because of like players that might be on the move. But Acuna is going to be in the lineup, so you can rock that stolen base prop, that kind of thing. All right, let's now give some home run predictions out to the people for our daily dingers for Tuesday night.
It is out of here.
Now that's a dinger.
All right, and John, I'll go first because I think this is a pick
you
you
stole
also.
my pick, man. I gave it out this morning on the Bettor Baseball show or the Bettor Morning Show.
Morning Show. I'm sorry, I did not catch that on the Bettor Morning Show. I would not have doubled up on you, but it's good that we're both kind of lockstep here on Ryan Mountcastle plus 500 on DraftKings. You can add anything else here, but I'm a little skeptical of Hyunjin Ryu's first start here, coming off Tommy John for the Blue Jays. Don't know what we're totally going to get here, but he's had some issues with the home runs in the past, but allows better numbers anyway to righties than lefties. And Mountcastle, I'm sure you have the same view of him, just crushing left-handed pitching this season. 319 batting average, 659 slug. 8 of his 13 home runs have come against left-handed pitching this year, and over the past 15 games, hitting 350 with 2 homers in this stretch. And Moundy is a Blue Jays killer. If people don't realize this, in his career against the Jays, 313 batting average and 15 homers over 46 career games with the Jays. So he had a good game last night against Toronto. I think he's going to do it again here and go deep.
Yeah, you listed all of his great numbers against left-handed pitching, which is one of the reasons I was in on him. But also, we know how much of a detriment that O's ballpark is to hitters. You look at Mountcastle on the road this year to left-handed pitching, 500 ISO. It is wild. So
I did not know that stat. Wow.
Yeah, 500 isolated power number for Mountcastle on the road against left-handed pitching, and Toronto is a good hitter's environment. So again, I saw that this morning. I was like, 5-1, Mountie, let's ride. And then you took it, but that's fine. I took it earlier, so we're on the same. We're on the same play. I'll pivot off of here to another guy that is just as good against southpaws, and that's Ozzie Albies. Isolated power number nearly at 300. I think it's like 270 or something like that this year against lefties. Here, a lot of power. Again, I'm riding Braves tonight, so give me Ozzie Albies, the home run call tonight, going up against Patrick Sandoval, locking that one in. What I have it plus 450, I think it was. Yeah, plus 450 over on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, you're going all in on the Braves here against the Angels, and I think our producer Tyler Soto is not too happy about that.
Yeah, apparently he's an Angels guy. Sorry, man.
He's an Angels guy. They got their win last night though, so that's good. And they're still in the thick of it with the wild card. Our producer, by the way, telling us that something to keep an eye on. John Heyman saying that Salvador Perez would consider waiving his no trade clause for the right team. Interesting. If a team wants a veteran catcher out there, usually we don't see catchers moved a lot at the deadline because teams are usually set with their 1 or 2 guys. But Salvi would be an interesting get for some of these teams. Don't know what the right landing spot would be, but we'll keep an eye. We got an hour and a half or so till we got the deadline. Last moves coming in.
Don't leave the Bettor Sports Network.
Yeah. I was gonna say stay tuned in here. Through
7 p.m. Eastern live, breaking down the deadline stuff, mixed in with whatever else we're doing here. The MLB DFS show is coming up. Myself, James Grandi, will do our best to give you the best DFS plays while players are constantly switching teams for the next hour. And then, Matt Sells and Colby Conway after the deadline, kicking off 6 p.m. to 7 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be doing the post-MLB Trade Deadline show. So all the live reactions to the things that happened throughout the day here today. So great time to be
Perfect.
part of the Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network families.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, just stay tuned right on this channel. I know it will be because we got trades coming in left and right, and I got to get my my advice from these experts. And John will be here pulling double duty for another hour. So stay tuned at least for
I'm
him.
also producing the 6 and 7 show.
There you go. There you go.
I am in this chair for the next 3 hours. I'm here.
All right. Appreciate everyone tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow at 4:00 Eastern here on the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network Fantasy Alarm, wherever you're watching. Appreciate you tuning in. Good luck with your bets and your picks tonight, and we'll catch you tomorrow. See you.
Good later.